I've just completed a successful global talent application on behalf of a client. His application was successful and he was endorsed. I'll just show you the endorsement letter here. So it says, "Thank you for your application. It was forwarded and you're advised that you meet the criteria for exceptional talent and therefore satisfied that you can be endorsed under global talent." So in this video, I want to talk about the 7 points that you need to think about when you're preparing your personal statement specifically. And this is the keystone document that holds everything together. So what are my tips on that? Certainly I've been following a particular approach in all of my applications for global talent visas, whether they're under the exceptional talent stream or exceptional promise stream. So firstly, the narrative. Now, the personal statement must contain a compelling narrative explaining your story on a human level. So there's lots of points we're going to come to in a moment about how to match your experience with the criteria and so forth. But without that story explaining your background in the same manner you would explain it, let's say, to a student who approached you and said, "Hey, how did you get into this industry? Can you give me an overview of how you did it and your development?" Then you would explain it in ordinary terms, chronologically, from probably your degree onwards. So that narrative is a really important element, and I think conveys the human part of the story, which I found to be essential. Now, the second tip I have in connection with the personal statement is the criteria, being clear about the criteria. Now, you may have seen from the application form itself that it forces you to pick the 2 optional criteria. I'm talking about exceptional talent now. It compels you to select 2. So you can't run things in the alternative in the sense of saying, well, I rely on these 2, but in the alternative, I also rely on the other 2. You can't do it that way. You need to pin your collar to the mast and be clear about which ones you're going for. I must say that in recent applications for clients, I have been obviously depending on the client's background, been tending to go for 2 and 3 as opposed to 1 and 3, which is the classic combination. But whichever ones you are going for, you should be clear about that, and not just in the application form itself. In the application form, you'll be asked to map the documents against the selected criteria, but just the bare mapping itself won't do. It needs to be explained in a coherent way. Now, the third point I have to make is about cross-referencing the other supporting documents. So you can see the personal statement as the center around which all of the other documents orbit, if you like. So you've got the 10 supporting documents plus the 3 reference letters. So you've got a total of 13 documents. I might add this CV as well. If you add the CV as well, that's your 14th document. And each of them plays a very important part. Now, there's nothing, though, to draw them all together apart from when you select in the form the sort of map, when you do the mapping exercise. So for each criteria, you mark which supporting documents you're relying on. That, again, it's not enough. You need to draw it together in a compelling way to say that you're relying on this criterion. These are the documents you're relying on, and why that forms a coherent whole, as an argument, if you like. The fourth point I have is in connection with the supporting documents. Now, there's a lot of information that needs to go in. Bear in mind, you do have these 10 supporting documents. So there's things that should go into the supporting document narrative. I'll explain what I mean by that in a moment, which don't really belong in the personal statement itself. So the personal statement itself should be explaining things in a coherent way, not just cross-referencing, doing more than that, but without going into without trespassing right over into great detail. Now, what I tend to do in the supporting documents is have a narrative within each supporting document with screenshots. And those of you who have taken my course on the global talent visa and seen example documents and so forth will know that that's my preferred way of doing things, and it's consistent with the Technation approach. So that fourth point is about giving enough detail on the personal statement, but knowing where to stop and then continue in the supporting documents. The fifth point I have is that the personal statement must include why you're coming to the UK, and I've seen so many of these statements, and I've seen many first drafts when I help people for as part of my consultation service. I'll often review such statements, and where I think people have really got to be careful is just relying on general platitudes about how great, as the case may be, the UK is in the tech sector, and that's just really not helpful. There's also a lot of generalizations people tend to make. So with my clients, they're really specific. We give a really specific statement of exactly what they're going to be doing in the UK and why that fits in within the tech sector, specifically in connection with their area. Now, some of my clients are looking to switch from their company's international offices, and they'll continue to work in the UK, but for a different branch. And in such cases, full details of that will be given. Where, on the other hand, a business interest is going to be advanced, that really needs to be dealt with in depth. What it shouldn't be, or what I think tends not to be helpful or increases the risk of refusal, is if it's entirely speculative. And to say that effectively one's going to be doing a job search in the UK or giving general statements about business opportunities, that doesn't work. So my sixth point is about keeping to 1,000 words. There is this 1,000 word limit. I mean, the form itself may prevent you from submitting it, but bear in mind, you'll be preparing this long before you submit it. So I like to get all of my clients' supporting documents ready and then start the process, which I've described in my other videos. So in other words, the stage 1 application, then the Technation form, and then the stage 2 application at the right time. But first of all, preparing the suite of documents so they're 100% ready it's really important to get that right first. The reason for that is if you complete the stage 1 application and submit it, then the clock starts ticking for you to submit the Technation form, and if you haven't got everything in order, that can cause you issues. So yeah, refining it down to 1,000 words before you start on the form process is very important. And then my seventh tip in this connection is to commit yourself to and focus on the 2 chosen optional criteria. So point 7 is about focus. When you're really focusing on the chosen criteria from the very beginning, then it helps enormously. When I review applications, many people's applications, they tend to have had a kind of scattergun approach. And when applications are super focused, there's no doubt about which criteria people are going for and why, and the support for each of the optional criteria, then you're really off to a strong start. So I hope very much help their hopes. I'm going to link after this live stream. I'll link my course below if you do want assistance in that connection. Also, if you would like to speak with me to use my consultation service, then contact details are below, and the link for scheduling a call with me. I'll be very happy to assist. Thanks so much, and bye for now. That's good.